There's nothing more All-American in baseball than bad umpires. Am I right? Bad
Ooh, talk to
umpires.
me about it.
That's where, I mean, to me, as a guy that just loves the game of baseball, as I just grew up on it, bad umpires kind of make the game of baseball a little bit. Even though we want them gone, they still just are kind of they just are part of the game, and one of the best bad umpires of all time, arguably the GOAT of bad umpires, I would say.
Arguably the GOAT.
Yeah, has just retired. Angel Hernandez is officially no longer a Major League Baseball umpire. We did
Uh,
it, Joe. I got that. I sent that meme out a few times when that went in some group chats. We did it, Joe. Uh, MLB fans rejoiced over it, and I was a little sad about it because I am going to miss some of the Angel Hernandez moments. We're not going to relive all of them. It's just there's too many. But before we sort of get into it, I'll just give a brief little recap of it. Angel Hernandez negotiated a settlement with Major League Baseball, an undisclosed amount of money. They'd been working on it for months. He gave a statement announcing his retirement, and I'm going to read it really quick. He says, starting, wait, hold on. I have it right here. Okay, here it is. Starting with my first major league game in 1991, I have had the very good experience of living out my childhood dream of umpiring in the major leagues. There is nothing better than working in a profession that you enjoy. I treasured the camaraderie of my colleagues and the friendships I've made along the way, including our locker room attendants in all the various cities. I have decided that I want to spend more time with my family. Needless to say, there have been many positive changes in the game of baseball since I first entered the profession. This includes the expansion and promotion of minorities. I am proud that I was able to be an active participant in that goal while being a major league umpire. I thought that was a nice little statement. Well,
yeah.
interesting little sentence at the end because he mentioned the expansion of minorities, promotion of minorities, because he famously filed a lawsuit against Major League Baseball back in 2017 because he wasn't allowed to umpire the World Series, or he wasn't chosen as one of the umpires for the World Series. And he sued Major League Baseball, claiming it was because of his race, because he's Hispanic. That lawsuit was thrown out. It was found frivolous by the courts, but interesting that he said that. I do think that plays a part in why baseball wanted him out, and not just because he is a difficult umpire to justify to the fan base. Just before I ramble on too much about this guy, what are your thoughts on Angel Hernandez retiring? Do you have a favorite moment? Do you care? Are you happy? Are you sad? Give me your thoughts.
I mean, who doesn't like a good bad guy to talk shit about, right? What's the favorite part of any job? Having like a break, having lunch, getting off work and having a beer, whatever, with your coworkers and talking shit about the boss. It's the best. Blow off some steam. Angel is one of the best. He gave you so much ammo. I don't know. And what's funny is I can just envision so many bad balls and strike calls, but it is tough. I can't think of any like super notable like Dodger ejections. I'm a Dodger guy, but
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head with Angel. And I feel like I can't, like, it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't pull one out, but we will miss you. I feel like the league is getting a little quieter with the moseying on the old dusty trail of our Joe Wests and now Angel Hernandez, these larger than life bad guys, kind of. Well, I don't know, personality is the better term, but we'll miss you. But yeah, I kind of feel like he's getting a little bit of a bad rap, a little bit of pushed out. I think Manfred, I think he carries a grudge, dude. Don't believe me? Ask Trevor Bauer. I don't
Yeah.
know. How would you like to go down to Mexico and watch that? Angel Hernandez ump a game that Trevor Bauer's throwing. Love to
Yeah,
see that dust up just for old time's sake.
dude.
Call it the AEW of baseball.
He's kind of is the little bit of the Trevor Bauer of umpires. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not
Love that
saying
guy.
I'm not saying that I like think Bauer should be in the league or anything like that. I actually could care less. I hope Bauer goes away. I don't want to hear the name ever again. I don't care. But do I think that it's possible he got screwed? Yeah, sure. I think it's possible he got screwed a little bit.
Totally.
But I also think that if you draw, did you just do a little? That's funny. If you draw attention to yourself in ways that are unnecessary, you're gonna draw bad attention to yourself, and you're gonna get people. You're gonna get the wrong attention for the wrong things. I think that was the problem that Angel Hernandez had. Joe West was the same problem, which is what I think MLB wants. If they're not going to have robo umps, they want their umpires to not be recognizable at all because they don't want the umpires to be talked about.
Yeah.
If you know the name of your umpire, that's not a good thing because that means something probably went wrong. You want it so that because nobody ever talks about what a good job an umpire does. I mean,
and just sidebar, you are speaking as a fan perspective.
right?
We should never know the umpire's name because
it
should be a non-factor, you know.
Yeah, because we only hear their names when they make a bad call.
Of course they should.
Right. We don't get we jokingly, ironically, will get like hype tapes of umpires or hype videos of an umpire making good calls, right? Yeah, but like
we're not gonna. Who doesn't love a good strike three?
Yeah.
When's the last time you have one of those clickers in your hand? Do you think they still use the same one as like?
I wish. Oh, I want one. I miss those days, man. I miss those days.
Those are the original fidget spinners, dude. The old umpire balls and strikes.
You know what? Maybe that's what went wrong. Umpire, that was like a stress reliever for those umpires. They had something to like to fiddle on. They've got the pressure of the whole crowd on them. You know what I mean? They need something to relieve the stress. But
what's your favorite era of umpire like defense mechanism? Do you like the kind of catcher's mask setup with the like hockey style helmet? Do you like the 2-piece helmet? Do you like when they had the old shield, they would put their head up on it?
I love when they have the giant chest protector, like the ones that like the padding is like this thick. It looks like their chest is like sticking out that far. Those ones. I like those.
Those are tight.
It looked so horrible, but that's why you liked it.
I always appreciated the full suit. Like,
I like that too. Angel wore a full suit at times.
He's a big suit guy.
Yeah. To get back to him, I do think that he's getting scapegoated a little bit. Joe apparently he says that Joe Torre hated him from his time at the Yankees. He wasn't actually even in what's his name? Baseball Doesn't Exist. The guy from Baseball's Dead podcast. He did a video on this. Angel Hernandez was not in the bottom 20% of any metric that we have to measure the quality of work done by an umpire. So he was far away from being the worst one.
Yeah. Do you think that's like you attract more flies with honey than vinegar type deal? Like
exactly what it is.
It kind of was like more sour.
He just attracted attention to himself too much. That's all it was.
Yeah.
He made bad calls and bad moments.
Bad calls though too.
Right.
But again, I can't. What am I talking about? I can't name one off the top of my head.
I could name a few. He did a check swing on Bryce Harper, who he clearly didn't like, where it was like Bryce didn't even come close to swinging. He made a few, like one call in the World Baseball Classic on a pitch that was like 3 feet out of the strike zone, just like some really bad ones. But but the problem I think that he had was that like he didn't make a ton of bad calls. He just made them in moments where he was going to be the story, and that's the issue with Angel. It's always been the issue with Angel. He liked to insert himself in the game. He wanted attention, and it just umpires. He signed a fucking autograph. He autographed a baseball as he's leaving the field for some kids, which is cool, but he clearly liked it. He liked it. He wanted to sign that ball. He knew who he was. He was playing into it.
Well, I guess, you know what? If you got somebody calling out your name, that's cool. It's for a kid. But, like, I don't know. I think it's more weird that they're, like, grown men that go out and, like, try their best to catch home run balls and foul balls and, like, take them from kids. Like, I think that's even more weird than
Dude.
than an umpire signing a ball. But I digress.
Who's that guy that goes to every game and like catches home run balls? What's his name?
I forget his name off the top, but I don't even want to give him a shout out.
I'm
He's a
glad I forgot his name. That dude's
dork,
weird.
dude.
I think,
Dork.
yeah, Spectrumy. Yeah. But yeah, either way, Angel, I'm glad that we're not going to have to talk about you in any big game anymore. But I don't think this is the end of big calls being blown and big moments. I think that like that's just part of baseball. I do feel a little bad.
I agree. I think it's just kind of part of the game. And like to be honest, dude, and hear me out. Here's the little deferred collusion on it, dude. Maybe this is just an inside job because we all know robo umps are coming.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have the little rectangle on the TV screen, would we really be noticing a difference?
No. That's exactly what baseball doesn't exist was saying, is that he like how hard it is to actually tell. If you watch baseball 20 years ago without that, you wouldn't even notice how bad some of these calls are, and that the calls really actually aren't that bad. It went to begin with. Quit fidgeting with your fucking toy, bro.
I just noticed it started following me, dude. It wasn't
Yeah.
following me earlier, but I'm very excited. That's super cool. Thank you, Robo Cam.
But yeah, so either way, yeah, it's part of the game. We're gonna have to live with it until the robot umpires are here. So yeah, Angel Hernandez, you were terrible, but you also weren't the worst. Let's just say that. Fair?
Salute to not being the absolute worst.
Hey, dude, nobody wants to be called the worst. And if you're wrongfully labeled the worst, it's not cool, man.